Alright. So, yeah, you can already tell what it is. It's part 3. Yeah, I know you guys are excited for this. Alright, so last time I left off, Deku just, basically was in the hospital bed. He had just woken up. And, they yelled at him because he was an idiot. But, yeah, that's where, we left off, and now we're gonna get to here. So Deku, he's chilling out with, Cami and them. And he looks at his phone, he get a text from someone, he's like, oh shit. He's like, sorry you two, I gotta go somewhere. They're basically like, okay, he heads out. And yeah. So Deku, he's heading out, basically we'll go back to Cami and Mirko. They're talking to each other, right? Because, they're pals. So they're basically talking, and then Mirko brings up a fair point. She's like, well, do you think in the end he'll choose one of us over the other? Which, Cammy's like, I don't see him being that kind of person, but, like, what would the other do? Like, basically, they're talking because they're scared for, each other, and they're scared for themselves. Because, if Deku would, like, be like, hey, in the end, I like this person more. But they're all in a relationship, so they don't really have to worry about that too much. So they're like, all right, well, we can go talk to him. So, then they're like, Deku's been leaving a lot lately. He's been leaving in the middle of the day a lot. So Deku, so they go over to like see. They're like, you want to go check on what he's doing right now? Because they're a little bit, after that conversation, they're thinking a lot more, and they're a little bit worried now. So they're like, yeah, we should maybe go check on him because Deku does dumb stuff. So they go out to check on him, and, they see that Deku's hanging out with, Ryuko, the dragon hero. Mirko knows Ryuko, they're good friends. So she's like, why is he hanging out with Ryuko? They see that they're talking, and they're going out, and they're buying stuff, right? And now she's like, why is he, why are they going out and buying stuff like that, Because they went into stores, bought, female clothes, they're laughing a little bit. And then, basically, Mirko's worried about, what could be going on. Cami doesn't think Deku's gonna do that because, Deku's been through cheating. So now they're eating and they're talking and they're smiling and laughing a lot. So, Cami, so at this point, Cami's like maybe thinking that Deku might be, cheating. While, Mirko, she's like really worried that Deku's cheating on her with like one of her best friends, Ryuko, the dragon hero. So, they're talking, basically, at one point, they go out somewhere, and, they buy this one thing, and, Deku gets hugged, and then that's, like, the breaking point. So now that they go out to eat, and then Deku he's chilling out, right? And, he's tapped on his shoulder, he sees, like, an angry Mirko, and an angry, Cami. He's like, oh, hey, you two. Basically, we'll say that because at this point they've been, like, hanging out for, like, a few hours. So at this point, Cami pours a drink on Deku's head, and Deku just, like, he's like, okay, what was that for? He's confused at this point because he just got a drink poured on his head, and she's like, I can't believe you, and she runs off. And Deku's so confused. Like, he's just like, what the fuck just happened? Mirko's like, I'm really disappointed in you right now. She walks away, and Deku's like, do you know what just happened? I don't know what happened. Like, Ryuko's like, I don't know either. Ryuko runs up to Mirko, she's like, what's going on with you, Stuff like that. She's like, you think I don't realize that, he's, like, now she's, like, yelling this out, like, I can't believe, you're doing this with my boyfriend, yada, 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 stuff like that. And then Ryuko, she looks at her, she's like, no, like, what? Like, she's like, that's not what we're doing at all. And then, Mirko, she's pissed, so she isn't really listening, yada, yada, yada. Basically, Deku went after Cami because Ryuko said she got Mirko. So Deku went after Cami, he's like, what's your issue going on right now? Like, what's up? Why are you acting like this? Cami is like, I can't believe it after, what Bakugo did to me and what Uraraka did to you. I never thought you would do that. Yada, yada, yada. Deku realizes that she thinks that, he cheated on her. He's like, no, I would never do that. Why would I do that? We've been through that and together, and we both know that sucks, and I would never do that, even if I didn't go through it. No, like, she's yelling at him, like, no, you did it, I saw, yada, 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 she hugged you, this, that, and that. Deku, he sighs, he's like, ah. He's like, I really wanted to surprise you, and I really didn't want to tell you now, but I bought, gifts for you and Mirko, and I was hoping that Ryuko could help me since she's Mirko's best friend. And, Cami realizes, that she and Mirko fucked up major league. So she's, like, running up to Mirko. Because, like, at this point, Deku showed her the gift, and, Cami loved her gift. But, she was like, fuck, I have to run over to Mirko. She heads over to where Mirko is. She sees that Mirko at this point is broken down and stuff like that. And she runs over to Mirko. And, she's telling Mirko the situation. And Mirko now, she's dumbfounded because she feels so stupid, right? Deku, like, comes, like, up behind her. He's like, hey, you alright? She like, Deku still has, like, smoothie over his head, so he doesn't really care. Because he understands that, they thought that he cheated, which, if he were in that situation, he would probably thought the same. So, Deku's just like, hey, listen, alright? I care about you two way too much to do that. Like, you two are, like, really, you're the most important things to me right now. So I would never do that to you two. So at this point, they're like, they're crying, and they're like, we're sorry, yada, 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 stuff like that, Degu's like, alright, let's head back. Like, he grabs his stuff, he's like, yeah, sorry, Ryuko. I had a fun evening, finding gifts, yada, yada, yada. She's like, no, it's fine, make sure to take good care of my friend. Mirko does apologize that she thought that she would do something like that. Ryuki's like, no, it's fine, I get it, if I had felt something like that with my boyfriend, I probably would have felt the same. So, basically, they head off. They get to the dorms, they're still, like, sad, like, they're still like, we didn't believe you, yada, 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 we're awful girlfriends, stuff like that. Deku holds them, he's like, don't worry about it, I get it, like, he's trying to, like, assure them, like, don't worry about it. I know that you just got worried because, like, that did look like something happening. He gets, like, that situation did kind of look funny. So, after that, he gives them, like, the gifts, and, what would he give them? We'll say that he got Mirko, like, a silver, ring, like, or silver, like, a necklace with, what would it have on it? Like a bunny or something? We'll say for Mirko, it's a silver necklace with a bunny. And for Cami, it's a golden necklace with... what would Cami even want on a gold necklace? I don't know, just like the sun or something. Something like plain, kind of. But Deku's like, yeah, it's not the most, it's not the most well thought out gifts, but it's something that I tried to get you to. So now they're hugging him, crying even more. Deku is just holding them the entire time. And at this point, like, Deku is out until dark, so they're basically like, we need to apologize to you in a way that, you'll understand we're sorry. So, Deku's like, what do you mean? So, that stuff happens. It's the next morning, Deku gets up, he's like, I didn't get too much sleep. So he gets up, he changes, it's the weekend, so he doesn't have to worry about school, but, he still got a job in order to make, ends meet to get that gift. So Deku goes out. Aizawa was like, where are you going, problem child? He's like, oh, I'm going to work, yada, yada, yada. So he goes to work. He does his shift, Mirko comes out there. She's wearing his green hoodie that has Deku on the back, and Cami's still wearing his All Might hoodie. So, they're chilling out in the common room, just watching, shows. And, they're getting death stares from Uraka. But, they don't really care. So, she walks out. She's like, I'm gonna head out for a little while. So she heads out. Because they're in college now. You can't really keep them there against their will, I don't think. If you can. But, we'll just say that they can't really keep them there unless they want to stay. So she goes out. she goes out to, like, this cafe, you know, she gets served by her waiter, yada, 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 stuff like that. And, you know, she orders food, and, you know, she gets this, like, really good food. She's like, wow, it's really good, thanks to the chef, blah, 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 blah. She says that, you know, Deku, basically, he's in the kitchen, like, I have a feeling that I shouldn't have made that food that good. Like, you know. So, after that, just, they get told about the, what's it called, the sports festival? Yeah, that was a sports festival. So they get told about the sports festival. Deku's like, yeah, I'm in. Cami's like, yeah, I'm in. Like, everyone's just, like, pumped up for it, you know. Uraraka's on that hype train because she thinks that if she does good enough, Deku will take her back. But, you know, he won't. So, after that, you know, they're on, what's it called? They go to, like, change up. So, they're in their gym uniform. Deku got first place in this one. So, he walks up. He's like, yeah, yada. Like, he just gives this inspirational speech. I can't think of one right now. Don't be angry with me. I'm still tired from waking up. So, he just gives this inspirational speech. You know, everybody claps, and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to win. And then he just walks down. You know, and then everybody's, like, half like, well, the speech was inspirational, but that last part, though. So, you know, after that, a few people, like, you know, everybody knows each other who's in the sports festival. So, we'll say that everything goes the same, basically. Well, not like everything goes the same. I mean, like, all the events that they're gonna do are the same. So it's like cavalry battles and stuff like that. So Deku basically is like in the starting area. He's getting ready. He knows that Todoroki's probably gonna freeze the wall and shit, freeze the floor. So he's like next to a wall. And then the moment they say go, you know, the ground gets frozen. But Deku's already running on the side of the wall, and you know he jumps. He gets out of there pretty fast because he's at full cowling, like 40%, so he's really fucking fast. So, you know, he's far ahead. The 0-point robots start showing up. Deku's just basically knocking them, like, back and stuff. They're falling on their backs. And Deku's just running off. So, they get to the ravine area. Deku powers himself up to, like, 50%. Todoroki's still back there with the 0-pointers because, you know, he's not that fast. So is Bakugo. So he powers himself up to, like, 50%. You know, he jumps the whole ravine area. Barely, but, you know, he did make it. He almost fell back, but, you know, he caught himself. So they're basically still spending their time on the ravine area now. Now Deku's trying to be careful with the landmines because he didn't grab any piece of robot this time, even though it would have been a good idea. But the way he thought, you know, the same trick won't work twice. So he's just going across the bomb areas. And we'll say Todoroki caught up at this point. And he's like, alright, I need to catch up. So he just freezes all the bombs that are behind Deku. And Deku realizes, like, alright, I need to hurry up before he, you know, beats me. So he powers up to 40 and then just starts running across bombs. But they're blowing up later than he can, they can, he's going faster than the bombs can blow up, basically. So, you know, the bombs blow up, but Deku's already, like, in the finish line. It's like, first place is Zuko Midoriya. And, you know, second place, Todoroki Shoto. And then, you know, Bakugo Katsuki and stuff like that. So, Deku's just chilling out at this point, you know. Todoroki walks up to him, he's smiling. He's like, I'm about to give you, you know, some flashbacks. He's like, I declare war on you, yada, yada, yada. And Deku's like, like the good old days. Basically stuff like that. You know, Bakugo's like, what about me, you freaking icy hot? You know, Todoroki looks at Bakugo. He's like, you're not worth my time. You know, he walks out. Because, you know, everybody's still pissed that, you know, they're cheaters. So, after that, the matches are called on cavalry battles. So Deku's like, you know, he's getting ready to get his team. And Cami walks up to him. She's like, yo, like, let's be a team, basically. Deku's like, alright, sure. Mei Hatsume, she's like, hello again, Midoriya. And, you know, Deku's like, yo, what's up, Mei? And she's like, how about we be on a team as well? Deku's like, alright, but, what technology do you got this time? She's like, well, the rocket boost before I improved upon, but I also got rocket gauntlets and stuff like that, and also some automatic defense turrets, basically, but that can attach to your back. So Deku puts it on his back, right? Like, he has an automatic defense fucking turret. So if anyone who isn't, Mei Hatsume or Cami gets within, like, a 5-meter radius, then they're getting shot at with rubber bullets. Calm down. They're not trying to kill nobody yet. But, it's rubber bullets. So, basically, after that, who else would walk up to them? We'll say Tokiyami didn't want to walk up to them this year, or didn't want to team up with them this year. So Deku, he's walking around, he's like, yo, Kirishima. And then Kirishima's like, yeah, man. He's like, you want to be on a team? Kirishima's like, totally. So, Kirishima's like the front, Deku's like on the top, Kami's to his left, Hatsume's to his right. So after that happens, basically, everyone still rushes Deku, because they all remember that Deku couldn't use his powers without breaking his bones. But they also remember that in the race, he didn't break his bones. So basically, like, the turrets are shooting at people who are behind Deku, but the people in front of Deku are getting caught with smashes and stuff. And, like, some people are coming from the sides, but basically, Cami will make illusions that, they're at other places. So there's, like, 4 different, Team Dekus, and no one knows which one's the real one. Which, basically, they're all flying around and stuff like that. So nobody takes the 10 million. Hell, Deku even takes some points for fun. So, yeah, that's basically how the Cavalry battle goes. But, we'll still say that everyone gets in, but the difference is, not instead of Momo, instead of that, hair girl who had, like, hair that could tie shit up or something. I don't know what her name is. Instead of that hair girl, you have, the green-haired girl. I forgot her name. But instead of that girl, you have Cami. Oh, that's my AirPods. So, basically, instead of having, Ibarra, that's her name, Ibarra. So instead of Ibarra, it's Cami. So Cami, she's getting ready to get her fight. I'm gonna change some things up. So instead of Kaminari going, or not, I think it was Kaminari. Yeah, instead of Kaminari going against Cami, because she took Ibarra's place, it's Kaminari versus Bakugo. And instead of Bakugo versus Uraraka, it's Cami versus Uraraka. This is about to be heat. You can already tell what this is. And, so that's how that'll go. So it's still Deku versus Shinso. Shinso's, at this point, trained by Aizawa. So Deku, he gets into a fighting stance. He gets 30% on. And, they're throwing good hands. Shinso's still trying to get Deku to talk, but Deku refuses to talk. Then Shinso, Deku's like, alright, I have to end this in his head. So he goes up to 40%, we'll say, and then, he flicks, and then Shinso gets sent out. He's like, you gotten way better from last year, Shinso. And, they're friends, so, he's like, yeah, thanks, man. So they get up, they head towards, the area that they're supposed to go to. And, after that, what happens? What do I want to say happens? So let's just get straight into, Cami versus Uraraka. I was trying to think of something that maybe happened in between, but no, we're just going to get straight into Cami versus Uraraka. So, Cami walks into the ring. Uraraka, she's pumped because she thinks that she's about to whoop Cami's ass. Even though, Cami was trained by Deku, which, beats Gunhead. Plus her quirk is going to be more useful in this situation. So, Cami, she's cracking her knuckles because she's trying to get some stress out, you know what I mean? So, Deku, he's smiling. He's like, this is about to be a good one. So, Bako is like, he's rooting for round face. You know what it is. So, basically, Deku, he's just like, yeah, Uraraka's not winning this. He says that, under his breath. But Todoroki catches it. He's like, why is that? He's like, Cami is way stronger than last year. So, after that, the match starts, Uraraka basically goes for the same strategy she did in canon. But, Cami basically makes an illusion that she's, Like, there's like 50 Camis. You know, she doesn't know which one's the real one. So they all run at Uraka. Uraka swings at one, goes right through it, and then she gets punched from the right? And then Uraka looks through right, she swings. You know, then she gets uppercutted in the front. And then for like everybody else, we'll say that everybody else can see the regular version and like also the illusions going around. So they see like Uraka's just getting punched out of nowhere. So, you know, Uraka's getting like her ass beat. Not even gonna front with you. She's getting that right hook, left hook, right hook. Like you know what's it called? You know that one boxing show where like basically he just like swing right, left. Like, you know, Uraka's getting that wombo combo. Like wombo combo. You know, Deku's like, damn, cause she's getting rocked. But you know, Uraka was still touching shit, so she drops all the stuff. You know, but it's kind of like a self, you know, destruction move, because like stuff's gonna hit Uraka as well. Cami's trying to dodge it with the best of her abilities, but she does get hit with some stuff. And Uraka does get hit a lot more than Cami, because, well, Uraka's hurt more, and she can't really move as well, because her face got knocked, like, she was getting, like, beat to the fucking ground. So, you know, basically, Uraka, she looks around, you know, she goes for a swing at, like, one of the Camis, and, you know, basically, she goes for the swing on the Cami that looks hurt, because all the other Camis look perfectly fine. So, you know, she hits Cami. So, because I'm not about to make this a one-sided fight for no reason. So, you know, she goes and she's, like, fighting Cami and stuff like that. And then Cami, she can't really get away with her illusions without, you know, at least knocking Uraka back a little bit. So, you know, she goes for a fake-out punch. Uraka gets ready to counter it. She stops before the punch even hits, and then hits her right in the gut. And then, you know, Uraka's like, you know, she kneels down because she got hit in the gut. Then Cami goes for like a roundhouse kick to the right of her face. You know, Uraka's knocked out. And Deku's like, that was the best shit I've ever seen. Like, you know, he's clapping his hands at this point. And, you know, Bakugo's pissed. He's like, damn, like, you know, what the hell, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, he's just talking his major shit. And then Bakugo beats Kaminari, and then all the matches will basically go the same from there. So, who did Ibarra fight after? She fought Ida. So, after Ida, after she fights Ida, she beats Ida because she uses illusions. And, you know, basically she makes Ida think that the stadium is bigger than it actually is. So when Ida goes to hit the corner, he falls out of the ring. He's like, what the hell? And she's like, yeah, I made the stadium look bigger. Ida's like, that was very smart of you, blah, 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 blah. He congratulates her. What's it called? After that, Bakugo beats up, I don't know who Bakugo beats up. Bakugo just basically gets to where he would be in second place. And, you know, now, you know, it's Deku versus Todoroki. So, you know, he cracks his knuckles. He's like, this is gonna be fun. So, they're fighting. Deku's throwing out smashes, Todoroki shooting out ice and fire, because, you know, last year he got okay with his fire. So, you know, they're throwing, like, you know, good, like, smashes and stuff like that. Deku eventually gets close enough to hit Todoroki, but Todoroki catches himself with his ice before he can get sent out. Then he shoots a huge ice wave at Deku. Deku basically, you know, stops it. Like, he just, like, puts his hands out and he stops the ice glacier. And, you know, he smashes it into a bunch of pieces. It's a good fight right now. So, you know, Todoroki, he shoots his flames. And, you know, he goes for a flame-boosted punch. So, his like, you know, the fire just shoots his punch forward more. And, you know, he hits Deku. Deku gets sent back a little bit, but, you know, Deku catches himself. You know, but Deku does something that, you know, Todoroki wasn't ready for. So he runs at, you know, Todoroki. Todoroki shoots, like, a giant fire wave at, like, Deku, but, like, he makes sure that there's ice in the directions that Deku can't, you know, basically escape. And then, you know, Deku just flies over it. You know, Todoroki's confused because Deku's floating in the air. He's like, yeah, my quirk has a few extra abilities. Because, you know, remember, it's been 2 years, so Deku has unlocked float, and he can fly pretty fucking well. So Deku basically makes Black Whip into, like, some black gauntlets, and he punches through, like, the ice and stuff like that. You know, now he's flying at Todoroki. Todoroki's shooting, like, he's doing his absolute zero move, but it's way stronger than in canon. And Deku does like a 60, like yeah, he does like we'll say a 55% smash. So it'll make his arm hurt a lot, but it won't really it won't really break his arm. So he goes for that. They collide. Deku basically like holds himself to the like he's like holding himself towards the arena. Then he gets sent flying, and so does Todoroki. Todoroki smashes into the wall. Deku's about to fall on the ground, but then he floats himself before he can touch the ground. So Deku like floats up. He's like, all right, I didn't touch the ground. They checked the cameras, and Deku was close. He was hella close, but he didn't touch the ground. So Deku wins that round. And then after that one, it's Deku versus Cami. He's like, all right, this will be a fun fight, because they do sparring. So Deku gets into a fighting stance. So does Cami. Deku runs at her. Cami goes for a right punch. Like, it looks like Cami goes for a right punch. But then Deku, like, gets ready to counter it. But he's also prepared for another hit. So he's, like, basically looking around. He feels something, like, about to touch his cheek. And he tries to block it in time. It does scrape against his face. But Cami did actually throw a left hook. But the illusion stopped it. Like, the way she does her illusions when she fights Deku, she's like, whenever she swings a punch, it might be a real punch, but it might be a fake punch still. So Deku has to be prepared for that. So then, he's like, all right. So he powers up One for All. And, he slides his arm, like, basically, like, imagine how you, like, just slide your arm, like, across, like you're about to slap someone, but he does that to the air. There's a huge gust of wind that, like, pushes everything towards the left. Cami, like, she holds on the best she can. But, she still, like, is, like, pushed back a little bit. She doesn't get out of the ring yet. So Deku and her, they're throwing good hands. But, Deku's not trying to hurt her like crazy. Nor is Cami trying to hurt him like crazy. But they're basically, like, each punch is a counter and each counter is a punch. Yada, yada, yada. And Deku's like, alright, I gotta end this. Sorry. He pulls his arm back and, he pushes them forward. But he doesn't, like, do punches. So he pushes them forward. And, there's a huge gust of wind and Cami gets, like, knocked out of the arena. Deku helps her up. He's like, you did really well. So, Cami's going to get a lot of internship offers, but, so is Deku. So, after that, it's Deku versus Bakugo, and Deku, he's looking forward to this, because that means that he gets to beat the shit out of Bakugo without getting in trouble. Like, he's excited for this, and, he's, like, President Mike sees the shit-eating grin on, Deku's face. Basically, like, he's like, what's with that? He kind of looks like you when you're too happy. And I was like, well, actually, Deku looks probably looking forward to beating up Bakugo. And to be honest, I don't blame him. But, like, President Mike's confused now, and he's like, well, I don't know if Deku wants me to put his personal information out there. He looks towards Deku, and Deku's, like, giving him a thumbs up, because he doesn't really care about telling the world that, Bakugo Katsuki is a cheater. And so is Uraka. So he's like, well, one of my students and another student, one of my students and Midoriya were dating, and Bakugo apparently thought it would be a good idea to, basically do it with his girlfriend. Like, that's the best way you can put it on television. So he's like, so basically, he's the reason why Deku got cheated on, And he's like, it might not sound as messed up as it is, but they were also childhood friends at one point. He explains, like, yeah, they were childhood friends at one point. Then Bakugo began to bully him, and at that point, Deku broke and, beat the shit out of Bakugo. He was a bloody mess. Which, Bakugo's pissed off that, he's getting told to be a bloody mess. But Deku's like, but, as I was like, can you at least, like, not make it that graphic? Kids are watching on TV. Deku realizes, like, yeah, he can't beat Bakugo up that badly, but he still, plans on beating the shit out of Bakugo. So basically, Deku gets into a fighting stance. He's immediately, like, the One for All, like, users are immediately like, alright, fuck this guy, and, push him up to 75, and, Deku's like, oh shit, thanks. So he's stronger than Prime All Might. Keep this in mind. So, Bakugo is stronger than he would be in canon, because he's been in UA for a year. So he's much stronger than he would be in canon. So, Deku, like, he's getting ready to fight, Bakugo rushes at him, Deku disappears from his sight, right? And everybody's like, what the fuck? And, Bakugo, like, Bakugo feels, like, this sharp pain in his side. He's sent flying. But before he can, like, fall out of the ring, he gets grabbed from his wrist. You remember what Hulk did to Loki? He basically spins him around and slams him on the fucking ground. And he's doing that, like, over and over, repeatedly. And at this point, Bakugo's on the ground. And, he basically gets his, Star Platinum aura on and then starts beating the shit out of Bakugo. And, Bakugo's starting to bleed a lot. Then Deku's just like, because, like, Bakugo's not going to get a chance. You think Bakugo's going to touch Deku? Fuck no. So Deku's just, like, beating the shit out of Bakugo. He kicks him up into the air. Bakugo's sent flying in the air. He jumps up and then slams Bakugo into the ground. Bakugo gets slammed, And then, what's it called? Deku then just, like, Bakugo gets up, right? And then he just sees Deku in front of him. He does that whole beer shit where he has his finger ready to flick him. So he flicks him on the forehead and Bakugo's sent flying. Like, just imagine, like, Beerus standing over someone and getting ready to flick him with one arm behind his back. And he just does it, and Bakugo's sent flying. And he crashes to the ring. He's like, wow, that was, like, crazy. Izuku Midoriya wins the sports festival. Everybody's cheering because that was, like, a good fight. Well, not really a good fight, but it was more of a good ass beating. Because, nobody really cares for cheaters. Like, come on, let's be honest. If you heard that this one guy got cheated on over national TV, you wouldn't root for the guy who got cheated on rather than the one who did the cheating. If you would vote for Bakugo when you figured out he cheated on, you're weird. But if not, then you're completely cool. I can't judge you either because you're my subscriber. If you're not subscribed, help a brother get to 600. But yeah, road to 1,000. All right. Yeah, that's my goal. But after that, Bakugo just, he got his ass beat, so he goes to Recovery Girl. Deku didn't get touched, so he doesn't even need to go to Recovery Girl, Then Deku gets, hugged by Mirko and Cami. They're like, good job, yada, 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 stuff like that, Deku, they all notice that, Mirko and Cami are hugging him, so, they're confused, and, President Mike's like, can you explain this a little bit? They do explain that, they're, then he looks at Deku. Deku's still giving the thumbs up, and so is Cami and Mirko, because they don't really care to, that's Cami and Mirko, Deku doesn't care. Cami and Mirko are marking their territory. That's how they see it. So, they explain that, Cami and Mirko are in a relationship with Izuku Midoriya, yada, 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 and he's like, wait, both of them? Yada, yada, yada. He's like, yeah, apparently, they care about each other a lot, so it's nothing like, it's nothing like that, but because they all, love each other, basically. He's like, yeah, couldn't be me. And then there's Miss Joke crying in the background, yeah, she's just crying in TV, why couldn't it be you? But, other than the jokes that I'm making, so after that, Deku just heads off, Basically, Mirko gets stopped by the person who owns the agency. He's like, yeah, you can't be in a relationship with a hero in training. And, basically, Mirko looks at him, dead in the eyes. He's like, all right, then, I quit. And then she walks away, And then, he was expecting her to just give up on Deku, but she didn't. And, losing Mirko, she's still the number 5 hero. She is above the person who she's internshipped with. She just plans on making her own internship, which, will basically stop her from seeing Deku as much, but she doesn't really care about, as long as she's in the relationship with Deku, she knows that Deku won't do anything. After what happened, she believes in Deku, full-heartedly, that he would never do anything like that. And, Deku's like, are you sure you want to just quit the agency? She's like, yeah, I can make my own agency, actually. I actually wanted to do that since, the beginning, but then, stuff happened, and then I ended up here. So, yeah, the agency guy, he's like, wait, hold up. Maybe we can talk this out, Mirko's like, nah, actually, now that I've come up with the idea of making my own internship, I actually kind of wanted to do this. Because, keep in mind, she is bigger than the person she's internshipped with. She's the number 5 hero. I'm pretty sure she's still the number 5 hero. So she's like, yeah, no, I'm not working with you. So she leaves. Basically, the internship guy, he falls to his knees because, he just did the dumbest shit he could have done. So so after that, you know, Mirko, like, signs up to get her own agency, yada, yada, yada. I don't know how that works, so I'm just gonna say she gets her own agency, since she's the number 5 hero. And, you know, everything's looking up for them. So, yeah. Do I want to get into the next arc that I wanted to get into? Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do that. And, yeah, I know you guys are happy to hear me get into the internships. So they're all like, all right, well, you guys already chose your hero name last year, but they're like, if you want to change it up at all, you know, you can. And, if you guys want Deku's hero name to be changed, tell me in the comments, what do you think the hero name should be? But, if you don't want it to be changed, and if you want it to just stay the same, then, you know, you do that. Bakugo, he doesn't change it. He goes for King Explosion Murder again, but, you know, that fails, so he just chooses Ground Zero. You know, that's a pretty good name, not even gonna front with you. But, after that, Deku internships with Night Eye, because he already did the internship with Gran Torino, and he knows how to do full cowling, so he's interning with Night Eye. Night Eye's like, alright, so what I'm going to assign you to do, he's like, you two go out on patrol, basically. So, you know, Deku goes out on patrol with Muriel. Muriel's talking to him, he's like, hey, what's up, you know, Midoriya, yada, 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 because they're cool. And then after that, Deku gets bumped into, he looks down, he sees this little girl with white hair and, like, a horn and red eyes. You already know who it is, but, she's shaking, like, aggressively shaking, and, you know, Deku, basically picks her, like, Deku goes down, he's like, are you okay? And, you know, she just says, help me. And then Deku picks her up immediately. He's like, alright, we have to, like, you know, he taps Muriel, he's like, listen, this girl's in danger, bro. Like, he's like, take the girl, get going. Like, you know, Muriel, he listens, because Deku isn't really wrong all the time. Because Muriel, he's a pro hero now, but Deku's like, you know, Deku is stronger than him at this point, but not, like, I don't know if I would say Deku could beat Muriel, but it would be a good fight, like, we'd say. I don't know who would win in that situation, because Muriel's still really good with his quirk. But Deku is at the point of, you know, All Might, weakened. So, you know, basically, Shisaki, he walks out, you know, Overhaul walks out of the alleyway, he's like, hello there, have you seen my daughter? He's like, could you describe her? And then Deku basically, like, you know, he describes this girl who's about the age of, like, you know, 6 years old, short, you know, white hair, red eyes, a horn. Deku's like, nah, I haven't seen her, but do you want me to go help you look for her? He's like, no, it'll be fine. He's like, no, come on, let's go make a report, and, you know, go look for her. Because Deku's trying to distract him as long as possible. He's like, please, sir, like, you know, as a hero, I need to help you out here. So, you know, Shisaki's like, you know, he's like, it'll be fine, right? And, you know, at this point, Muriel's already gotten to a good distance away. And, you know, like, Shisaki's thinking the more, like, they talk, the more she's getting away. So, you know, Deku's just like, alright, can you, like, tell me, like, how old is she exactly? What's her name? What would, like, you know, basically stuff like that. He's like, he's like, don't worry, sir, I'll find her myself. He's like, please, sir, like, you know, he just keeps getting in the way. He's like, let me help you out here. And Shisaki's like, listen, I have it. And, you know, at this point, Muriel's already, like, gotten to Night Eye's agency, because he went full fucking speed. So Deku's like, alright then, you know, sorry, I'll just try to help you out. You know, he walks off. Shisaki's pissed because he's basically sent out a search party for Eri, and, you know, they can't find her. So Deku, he gets to Night Eye's agency, he sees, you know, Muriel holding Eri, and Eri's hugging him aggressively. You know, she's like, she looks at Deku, she's like, you're okay, you know, because she thought that Deku would die. She kept saying, no, don't leave him, he's gonna die, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, he didn't die because he didn't, like, go for a fight, because he doesn't know what that guy's quirk is or anything. So basically, after that, Deku's like, alright, like, he brings her to Night Eye. She's holding on to Deku very tightly because, you know, Deku saved her and so did Muriel. So she views them two as, like, her saviors. So, you know, basically they explain the situation. She explains what happened to her. And, you know, Deku's at this point, like, he feels, like, intense fucking rage towards Overhaul. He fucking hates him right now. So, and he's not my Overhaul off of What If Deku Was Overhaul. He's just a dickhead. Because, he wants to remove quirks. But, basically, after that, you know, Deku's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry, he'll never get you again. I'll make sure of that. And then, Night Eye's like, well, who's gonna watch the girl? And then Mirio, he's like, I have patrol to do, and I don't really have anyone to watch him. Deku's like, huh. I got someone, he's like, I got someone who's very kind-hearted who could watch her. Because, we'll say that her quirk doesn't malfunction since she's a year older. So she's like 7, actually. So Deku's like, how about this? All right, I know this very nice lady. She's my mom, actually. Aries like, your mom? Like, what's a mom? Deku, like, his heart drops when he hears that. Because, I don't know if Aries knows what even a mom is. Because, I'm pretty sure she killed her dad and mom. So, his heart drops when he hears this. He's like, oh no. He's like, a mother is someone is a woman who cares about you unconditionally. Like, and she's like, all right. And then Deku's basically walking with her. He also explains what a father is. She's like, a father is someone who also cares about you unconditionally as well. Aries like, walking with Deku. So, Eri is sent, like, it goes to Inko's house, Inko opens the door, she's like, oh, Izuku, my baby boy. She sees Eri, she's like, am I a grandmother? Basically, Deku's like, not quite yet, don't worry about it just yet, but this girl, like, Eri, like, is sitting down, and Deku explains the situation, and he's holding on to Eri very tightly, because he wants her to know that she's safe, and Inko hears this, and she cries, and, Eri's like, why are you crying, kid? Why are you crying, yada, yada, yada. She's like, she holds, Eri. She's like, don't worry, no one's gonna hurt you here, alright? Because they don't know that Eri is at, Izuku's place. The Overhaul gang, they don't know. They stopped searching after, like, 5 hours. Because that's how long that they wanted to give it time. But they don't know where, Eri is. So Deku's like, alrighty then, well, did I say Inko died or anything like that? I don't think I did, but I have this weird feeling that I might have said that. If I did say that, retcon, Inko doesn't die at all. So, Inko's, like, watching Eri, and Eri's like, Eri holds on to Deku's leg, she's like, I don't want you to go, yada, yada, yada. Deku gets down, he's smiling, he's like, listen, alright, I'm gonna get that bad man and make sure that he pays for what he did to you, alright? But you just have to stay here. She's like, okay, she gives him a hug. Deku's, his heart is, like, so warmed right now. Inko's like, she's like, are you sure that I'm not a grandmother? Because you sure do seem like a father. And, Eri's like, wait, so is he my father? And, Deku, like, looks at his mom. He's like, don't do this. Don't make this happen. Like, I'm too young. Inko smiles, like a devilish smile that he's never seen on his own mother. And she's like, yes, he is your father. Deku's like, God damn it. Like, he knew Inko might do this, but, he didn't want her to do this. He was hoping that Inko would take the motherly role. But she's like, yep, and I'm your grandma. Because Inko does want grandbabies. She's old now. She wants grandbabies. She's not old, but, she's like, I want grandbabies. So, yeah, that happens. So Inko's playing with, she's playing with Eri, and, All Might, is walking into the apartment. He's like, oh, hey, Midoriya. And Deku's like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, he comes short with an answer, and Deku's like, okay, what's going on here? Like, now he's confused. All Might's like, well, me and Miss Midoriya here, we're talking about your future. Yeah, your future. Inko's like, you can just tell him, right? All Might sighs, he's like, he's like, all right, we're dating. Basically, he admits it. Deku's surprised by this. He's like, but when, though? He's like, well, I wanted to explain to Inko what the quirk was. And, we talked for a while, and, we enjoyed each other's company, so we had more talks like that, and, eventually one thing led to another, and we started dating. Deku's like, all right, like, right now, he just got called father, so at this point, he doesn't really care about anything. He's just happy. So he's like, he just, like, holds All Might's shoulder. He gives him, like, a smile, and he's like, if you hurt her, I'll make sure that, I'll make sure that All For One wasn't the only one who destroyed. Like, he's like, I'll destroy the other half of your respiratory system. He walks out, and, Inko's, like, surprised that, Deku acted like that. And All Might surprised that Deku could be so fucking horrifying. But, Deku basically walks back to Night Eye's agency. Night Eye's like, so how did it go? And, Deku's like, it was a lot more eventful than I thought it would be. So, after that, they get ready to fight Overhaul. So, everything's set up. All Might's actually there this time, because All Might isn't weak. He isn't weak Might or anything like that. So, basically, the raid goes way better. Since All Might's there, Night Eye survives. Sorry if I spoiled it for you, but if you're watching this, and I said I was going into Overhaul arc, you should have just left. But, basically, Night Eye survives. And since Deku is way stronger, he also saves Mirko from getting his quirk, disappearing. But it's definitely a harder fight because Deku doesn't have Eri to support him. But, with the combination of Mirko and Deku, they beat, Overhaul. It is reported in the news. Leader of the Yakuza, leader of a branch of the Yakuza, Overhaul, or Shisaki Kai, has been arrested, yada, yada, yada. And, All For One's pissed because Shisaki and him were in a business agreement. So, yeah, that happens, Basically, Inko is watching the news, and, Eri hears, the news, and she's happy, so she hugs Inko, and, All Might's not there because he was at the raid. So, Deku gets back, he's like, he's like, yo, I'm home, basically. Then, Eri runs up to him, she hugs him, she's like, you did it, she's crying, she's like, you really did it, yada, yada, yada. Deku's like, of course, I promised you I would do it. And, he gives her a smile. Eri's, extremely happy because, Deku beat Overhaul. So Deku's like, alright, well, do you want to stay with my mom or you want to go with me to, the dorms? She's like, I want to go with you. And, even though she loves being around Inko, she's like, bye, Grandma, and Inko, she's like, she got hit with an arrow in the heart, but it's like, that was heartwarming for her. He's like, yeah, bye, Mom. He heads out. So basically, Eri's on Deku's shoulders, she's sitting on Deku's shoulders, and Deku makes it to the dorms, and Cami and Mirko are there. They're like, yo, what's up? Deku's like, hey, and then Eri looks down, she taps Deku on the head, or pulls Deku's hair. Deku looks up, she's like, Papa, who are these two? They hear that and they're immediately what? Excuse me? And Deku's like, before you guys, go into a fucking riot, he's like, well, I've basically adopted her. He explains the situation, and they're like, and they're basically like that, then Eri's like, who are these two? Deku's like, these are the two that I love a lot, they're the two most important people in my life, right now at least, And, they're like, hi there, Eri, yada, yada, yada. So, then Eri, taps him on the head one more time. Sorry. Then Eri taps him on the head one more time. Deku looks up again. So Eri's like, so does that make them my mamas? They're both my mom? Deku's like, he gives this, the same shit-eating grin that, Inko gave him. They basically, she's like, yeah, they are, Eri's like, I have two mamas. She's like, can I meet them? She's still nervous. They basically, are like, hi there, Eri, yada, yada, They're being very nice to her. So Eri loves him. She's like, I love him. And she's, they're happy that Eri likes him, stuff like that. Then Uraraka walks up. She sees Eri with white hair. She sees that Mirko has white hair. And, she sees that Eri is, an adorable cinnamon roll. She remembers that Deku used to be an adorable cinnamon roll. She's like, wait, hold up, what's going on here? And then Deku's like, yeah, let's go. So he just walks off. He doesn't even give them the time of the day. So after that, he gets bum rushed by a few other classmates. And they're like, Izuku, who is the kid, blah, 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 blah. Todoroki walks up. He's like, is that your secret love child? Deku's like, God damn it, Todoroki. What's it with you and secret love child? So, yeah, Deku basically, he explains that, he's basically adopting Eri, yada, yada, yada. Aizawa, he's like, alright, but, we'll make sure to watch her. And stuff like that. He's like, so can she come with us to, classes and stuff? Because, he's also, either that or just make, I don't know, would Eri be an elementary or a daycare? He's like, either elementary or daycare, and then, basically, he's like, Nezu will be her teacher, and, she'll get smarter real fast with him. Because, Nezu's gonna teach her basic stuff. So, basically, Deku's like, you ever been to school, Eri? Eri is like, no, there's too many people there, I wouldn't like going to school. He's like, alright, but how about this, alright? So he basically walks into Nezu's office. He's like, hey, Nezu. He explains the situation to Nezu. And Eri's like, Eri, her eyes are sparkling. And Deku's like, wondering why. Basically, he puts Eri down. Eri runs up to Nezu. She's like, teddy bear. Hugs him immediately. Nezu, he's like, I'm a teddy bear now? He's like, Deku's like, I mean, I don't really know if you're a mouse, a rat, or like a dog. So he's like, hey, as long as, she likes you, that's all that matters. She's petting Nezu. And, Nezu is like a bit, scared because he was experimented on, but Deku's like, do you want me to stop her? He's like, no, it's perfectly fine, stuff like that. But basically, Eri is being helped with her trauma with Nezu, and Nezu's actually getting helped with his trauma with Eri. So, because Eri's always hugging him, no matter what, unless, he's telling her, he's teaching her some stuff. So Deku heads off to class, and, basically Mirko and Cami walk up to him. She's like, how do you go? Deku smiles, and he's like, she immediately ran up to him and called him teddy bear. They find that adorable. So, yeah, that's how I'm gonna end off this episode. Eri is now Deku's daughter. Deku now is a father. And, so is Cami and Mirko. And, yeah. Nezu is a teddy bear. But, I'm gonna end it off here. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Please subscribe. Alright, I know I sound like a sellout saying this, but please, please, it helps a lot. But, you do you, though. Alright, if you don't find it enjoyable, then you don't have to subscribe. I'm not forcing you here. If you do find it enjoyable, though, you already know. But, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.